Hey everyone, this is Mike, and today I'm gonna be doing a little bit of a channel update, as over the last few months I've changed some things over on the YouTube side of things, and going into the next few weeks I'm gonna be trying out a couple of new things to mix things up a little bit, as the last few weeks I just haven't really been feeling like it. The way that I've been doing things, and for that I kind of need to give a little bit of a backstory. So a couple of months ago I decided to make the switch from variety content over to pretty much full-time Final Fantasy content instead. If you know me, I'm a gamer, I love playing a bunch of different games, and I like to share my excitement about those games on the YouTube side of things, but it wasn't really going all that great. And if I wanted to make this content creator thing into a full-time gig, then I would need to get a bigger viewer base, more views, more money, that kind of stuff. If you're wondering, right now what I'm making is definitely not enough to turn this into a full-time job. The main reason why I'm giving it a chance is because of the pandemic that's around right now. Currently here in Belgium we're in a second lockdown for at least the next like 4 or 5 weeks at this point. So having a normal job right now isn't really all that fun, which is why I decided to give this content creator thing like a real chance, so to speak. Now, a couple of months ago, as I mentioned, I switched over to pretty much full-time Final Fantasy content. Also around the time that Final Fantasy wasn't really getting much new content into the game. Yes, we had 5.4, which offered a little bit of extra content, but in the first week I was pretty much done with it. And then, of course, Bozja released a few weeks ago as well, but Bozja also wasn't really what brought me back into the game, kind of like how I was hoping it to be. I played it for pretty much a week or two, and I'm pretty much done in there as well. The only thing I really still care about is getting the 1v1 duels out of the way, but those are also an RNG fest to try and get into, so God knows how long that is going to take me to actually finish. So anyways, Final Fantasy, I'm not really feeling it all that much right now, and my channel being pretty much only Final Fantasy content doesn't really make that work all that well. So this is where I wanted to try out a couple of new things. Over the last 2 weeks, you've already seen it, tried 2 streams over on YouTube, which both of them were successful enough for me to want to try a little bit more. And that is mainly because of what is going to be happening tomorrow. So for those that don't know, I'm a very big Destiny 2 player as well, one of my most played games of all times, not counting Final Fantasy and Closers. But Destiny 2 is a game that I really enjoy, and tomorrow Beyond Light, the next expansion, is coming out, which both me and a couple of my friends are extremely excited about. So I'm just going to be jumping in and playing that probably for the whole week and not care about much else. Unfortunately enough, Genshin Impact is getting its 1.1 patch on like the day after Beyond Light comes out, so I want to probably play that a little bit as well, and those 2 games will basically make it so that I don't really have much time for Final Fantasy in the meantime. And when I am playing Destiny 2, Genshin Impact, and when I am very excited about those 2 games, there isn't really going to be much excitement left for Final Fantasy, and there wasn't really a lot of excitement at the moment for Final Fantasy in the first place, because the only reason why I'm really subbed to the game right now is to still try and create some content for the YouTube side of things, as I'm pretty much done with the content at this point until my raid group decides to raid again. So what I'm going to be trying to do going forward into the future is I'm still going to be mainly focused on Final Fantasy on the channel. That will always stay the main focus. It is still my favorite game, so that will always stay covered on the channel. But whenever there are days where I don't feel like playing Final Fantasy, or I don't feel like making a Final Fantasy video, or where I ran out of topics to talk about or something like that, during those days I would try to bring back the variety content a little bit, and instead of doing it in a video format, I would do it in an interactive streaming format, because I really like to stream. But the problem is, and this is also the reason why I want to do it over on YouTube, is that when I do streaming over on Twitch, I don't really have that many viewers. When I stream on YouTube, I have a little bit more, like when it comes down to the variety content at least, I'll get more viewers over on YouTube definitely than I do over on Twitch. And for me, it's all about the interaction. I don't care about having like a few hundred people watch my stream if nobody's talking. I'd rather have like 20 people watch and have like 5 people active in the chat or something, because to me streaming is all about the interaction between me and the people that are watching the stream. That is why I like to stream, and that is also why I want to do it over on YouTube, because I just have a bigger audience over here than I do over on Twitch. Now that does not mean that I'm never going to be streaming on Twitch again. This is very much so a test to try things out a little bit, so that whenever there is a content gap over on YouTube and the video side of things, I can bridge that gap by doing a stream, whether it be like a Final Fantasy stream, like for example tomorrow I'm most likely going to be doing a Final Fantasy stream in the afternoon for, like, for example, when I do my weeklies, 24-man Shiva Unreal, maybe some crafting stuff, that kind of thing. And then when I go into like the next few days into the week, I'm definitely going to be streaming some more Destiny 2 stuff because I'm very excited about Beyond Light. I'm pretty much going to no live that this week, and that will mean that there won't be any time for me to make Final Fantasy content as well, as I don't want to force myself to play Final Fantasy right now when I'm very excited about playing Beyond Light. So that is going to be kind of the thing for this week, a lot of Beyond Light content most likely, but then going into the future as well, like going into 5.4 and future of that, I will still primarily be focusing on Final Fantasy XIV, as well as some closers as well, because I do know that there is a big viewer base over here as well that likes to see closers videos. And I'm also still very much so interested in that game, especially right now with the World Server coming out last week. But basically those will still be the two main games being covered, Closers and Final Fantasy, with Final Fantasy being the major one. And then whenever there is a day where I don't want to make content about Final Fantasy or Closers, or I kind of ran out of ideas, during those days I will be streaming something else instead. Or maybe I might just stream Final Fantasy for that day as well, who knows. But instead of just being like a video format, it'll be in stream format. And then for now, all of the streams are going to be taking place over on YouTube as well instead of on Twitch. But I'll kind of wait and see how that kind of works out as well. Because I also don't want to overload the YouTube side of things. Like for example, when 5.4 comes out, I'm going to be overloading the channel with videos again, because I'm going to be very excited about it. And it might make it so that having an extra stream on top of that as well might be a little bit much. So I might take it back to Twitch during those days. Well, I have to wait and see about that. For now, I'm basically going to be trying this thing where I will still be uploading normal videos. Maybe not as much this week, because this week is going to be special with, of course, a new expansion coming out. Going to be playing that a lot, not going to have a lot of time to make videos in the first place. But going forward from that, whenever there is going to be something where I don't really know what kind of videos to make, I would like to bridge that content gap with a stream instead about maybe another game, for example Destiny 2. Last week I tried Katana Zero, which went quite well as well. So basically that kind of stuff. Anyways, let me know in the comments down below what you think about it. If you ever have topics that you would like to request, for example, feel free to leave those in the comments as well. I've done plenty of videos in the past that were pretty much recommended or requested by people in the comments as well. So you're always free to do that. But yeah, kind of give me some feedback about what you think about all of this. Would you like to see more streams over on the YouTube? Or would you like to just keep it like it is right now with the videos and that kind of stuff? Curious to see what you guys have to say. But on that note, I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank my Patreons for supporting me, and I'll see you in the next one.